Hello students, today we're going to talk about using layer masks and how we create two different effects with those layer masks. We're going to do something called color splash and another thing where we blur part of the picture and bring the rest back into focus. So the first thing I want to do is I want to duplicate my background layer twice. I'm going to call one color and I want to call the other one blur. And so what I need to do is I want to turn off the eyeball of the layer that I'm not working with currently and make sure that I am selected onto the layer that I want to work with. This is very important. Whenever you make a mistake in Photoshop or something's not working right, take a look and see, are you highlighted on the correct layer? So next thing we're going to do is we're going to turn this image black and white so we can then bring some of the color back. We're going to go to Image Adjustments and Desaturate. And that is going to desaturate our whole. Now, if I take the eyeball off, you'll notice that the background layer is still in color, so that's why this is going to work. What we're going to do next is we're going to come down to this little thing that looks like a box with a circle in it, and we're going to click on Add a Layer Mask. And notice that you can be clicked on the image down here, or you can be clicked on the mask. We want to be clicked on the mask. The next thing we want to do is we want to go over here to our toolbars and click on the default foreground and background colors to make sure that those are reset in case there are other colors sitting in there at the moment. We next want to go up to our brush tool. Select a size that's appropriate so that it's large enough. You can move the slider here if you want to make it a bit larger. And now I want to toggle this so that the black is the one the color that's showing on the top. And so what I do now is I can pull this color out. So basically what I'm doing is I'm kind of tearing away at this layer. Now if I go, oops, I didn't want her face, I just wanted to do her shirt. Now I can switch this back to white and I can eliminate that. So very simply I go back to black, and there are many different ways that you could accomplish this task, but I find that layer masks are the most efficient because this way you can go back and correct any mistakes that you make rather than just hitting a simple edit undo. You can go back and correct that. So to complete this, I don't have time to fill all of this in for you, but essentially for what I want you to do for me, I want you to just color back in her shirt the best possible. A reminder that if you hit Control and the plus sign, it zooms you in so you can get a little finer, and you could actually then make your brush a little smaller if you wanted to fine tune that. And Control minus will zoom you back out. So this is going to be one of the few tutorials where I want you to save this so you actually have 3 pictures instead of 2. So what we're going to do now is I'm going to pretend that I'm finished. I'm going to save this one as whatever my Bonai number is, but I'm going to call this one C or color. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and put a little C next to it so that way I have this saved as that color layer. Now at this point what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the eyeball off of this current layer that I'm working on, and okay, now I have the eyeball turned off of the color and turned back on the blur. I also want to make sure that blur is highlighted. And very similar to what we just did, we're actually going to go to Filter, Blur, and Gaussian Blur. And this is helpful if you want to blur out part of the background. This isn't really the best picture as an example of that, but you can find something where maybe you want to blur out some things in the background. So I can zoom that out. I'm going to increase my radius to see how blurry do I really want this image to be. And as I continue to make this larger, it will render a preview. It's just taking a while because my computer is slow. So there we go. So we'll do around 21. It doesn't matter which one you pick. It's up to you. So we're going to go ahead and blur that, and then we're going to perform the same tasks we did before. We're going to add the layer mask and make sure that that is the box that is selected. I want to make sure that my boxes are reset, that this is set to black, and that I go up to my brush tool, and that I have a sufficient size brush so that I can then, actually I think I want this a little bit larger, I can bring back in focus the part of the image that I want to see. So that's why you don't necessarily want to make it terribly blurry in the background, because it'll be a very stark difference where you have things come out. But essentially what I want you to do is I want you to bring her entirely back into focus, as well as just a little bit of goat's face here. So again, I'm not going to spend the time doing it entirely, but I do want to show you if, oops, I made a mistake. I went up too high. Reminder that you can go back to the white tool and you can color that back over easily to fix your mistake. At this point, you will also do this one as a file save as. You might want to save this one as B instead of C, so that way you know which one it is there. And so for the one that you do for your own practice, you will also have 3 photos. You will have the original, you will have a blurred copy, and a colored desaturated color splash copy. So I wish you luck. Good luck.